Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Noah Bergren here. Hope you're doing good out there for today. We have a lot to discuss tonight on the weather department. Thank you for joining us here on Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you're doing good. Wanted to start you quickly with the exclusive 7-day forecast, the latest thinking here, and it does look really good. We're not talking about really anything of consequence until maybe Black Friday of next week. Really, in the grand scheme of things, look very nice. So we're on Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook today. Let me know where you're watching from on Facebook and YouTube. Really appreciate all of you watching, again, on Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook. If you have a comment about Thanksgiving, I would love to hear about it. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? I'm actually going to be here at Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to sneak home quick for a stag party on next weekend, but Thanksgiving, very excited. We have a great group of people here at Fox 35. Well, I think me and Manny are your Thanksgiving evening crew. You'll have to watch for us on the air in the evening on Thanksgiving. But things look really nice, over the next week. Now, it is going to get cooler here by, I think, after Black Friday weekend, but it doesn't really look, that major. There's been a lot made online about cold this and cold that in Florida, but it doesn't really look all that significant here over the next couple of days. So let me get you back here. Sorry about that. Let me get you back here to the let me get you back here with the audio. So we've got much to discuss. So we've got much to discuss here. Sorry about that. I was just having an issue with our audio today. I appreciate all of you watching on Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook. So let's get you outside. Let's talk about the weather outside right now. Let's get you out there. So here we go. Here's the radar right now, 306. Things are dry. The drought continues to expand. So every Thursday, we get an update on the drought monitor. And Thursdays, we'll see how the rain anomaly is trending in Florida, and we got an update on that today. I'll show that to you right now, which drought has expanded. So everywhere in yellow, things are starting to get dry. In the second stage of tan here, things are moderately dry. This is severe, this is extreme, and this is exceptional drought up here. But notice for our area, Leesburg area, the villages, Ocala, is now dry. Once you get up towards Gainesville, it gets closer to severe drought. Then once you get up into the Panhandle, it's exceptional drought. Really remarkable stuff. Exceptional drought, which is actually very rare this early in the year. You really never see it that this early in the year. In fact, for a lot of places of Florida, this is the earliest we've been in this coverage of drought in many years. Normally we don't see this until maybe like later winter, and mainly in spring is when we would be in drought in Florida. So this is a growing thing. Now the only part of the state that's really not in drought is, oddly enough, Orlando and the Space Coast, and that's largely weighted because of the flash flood event 2 weeks ago. But this drought is expanding east, and over the next couple of weeks, I fully expect all of the state is going to be in some form of drought. So here's the rain as a percent of normal, and notice clearly most of the state is way below average. This is the past 30 days. You see here in Tampa, 7% of the normal rain, 10 in the Panhandle, come down here, 8%. But you've got these two little blobs here near Eustis and then Titusville that are sticking out like a sore thumb, and it's those areas that are, it's crazy the spread. You've got like a 300+% spread between Eustis and the rest of the state. Just goes to show you how extreme that flood event was. Other than literally those two areas here and here, the rest of the state is very dry. Now here it is over the past year. So this does include back to last November. And it's about maybe 20% below average everywhere outside of, let's say, so everywhere, this is since November 20th of 2024, everywhere outside of Volusia, Orange, Osceola, Brevard County, and a little bit of Charlotte County, inland Charlotte County down here by Fort Myers. Most of the state is below average for the past year, and this would go back, if you think back to last year, this would be after Milton and Helene went across the state. We talked about this last winter, and I remember the storm team, and I think I made this graphic in the spring, we showed it. After Milton, we had a huge rain deficit. I mean, most of this, I remember right after Milton went across, going into last winter, we had a huge rain deficit that kind of evened out later in winter last year into early this year. But that's really when this dry spell started, as we had those back-to-back hurricanes, and since the rain has been pretty much well below average in Florida. So we'll see how this story trends. It's not a huge headline right now for us in Orlando. There are some places, like I think the Villages in Ocala, that are doing some voluntary water conservation tactics, but in terms of like water shortages and like notices that you need to conserve water, that's now ongoing up in the Panhandle. And also parts of Southwest Florida, but outside of that, it's not really in our area just quite yet. So let me know where you're watching from. If you have a question about Thanksgiving holiday, we'll get to that here coming up in a hot second. And then we'll talk about the outlook into December, too, as well. So let me pull up some of your comments. Let's see here. It's November 20th. So hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Hello, Phyllis. Good afternoon. Hello. Let's see. Are you going to have a glass of sweet tea and pizza and garlic bread for dinner tonight with a big slice of apple pie? Well, I'm not a huge chef. I'm not a baker, I should say. I don't know if I'd ever be able to make apple pie, but no sweet tea for me tonight. I actually think I've got some chicken at home. I'm going to try to cook up quick on my go home and do it in 40 minutes, come back to work later. So no pizza for me tonight. Hello, William. How are you? Hope you're doing great on this Thursday. Let me pull up one of your comments here. This is from Phyllis. Phyllis is... Let's talk about the big picture. Here's the satellite tonight over the southeast, and notice there's really not a lot going on. A lot of the big clouds are up over here, up in the mid-south, the Tennessee Valley. Other than that, there's really not a lot going on. It's just sunny right now in Florida with very few clouds. Now, in the water vapor, you can see very dry air over Florida and the Gulf. You see the very, very dry air here. Then all the moisture up in here from like Texas into Missouri and Illinois. So across the country, we do actually have some pretty significant weather going on today. Let me show you this in the national view. So if you look, we've got a lot of rain today in Texas and some severe weather. This was forecast. You see the thunderstorm severe outlook today, and then it's not in effect tomorrow yet, but there it is today. You see there is a chance of severe storms in green, but what is ongoing now is a rare flash flood emergency. Sadly, again, for parts of Texas, which let me zoom in here. This is west of Waco in Austin. So that blue polygon, this is what we just had in Eustis and Mount Dora a few weeks ago. So here's the I-35 corridor over here, Waco down to Austin. Here's San Angelo, Midland, Texas, back over here, Kerrville right here. If you look right here, see that flashing blue polygon? That is a flash flood emergency that goes till 5:30 Eastern time for Menard County, Texas. And the reason why is because they've had a ton of rain in the past 6 hours. Let me turn off these warnings because there admittedly is a lot. Let me just turn off the regular flash flood warnings. So here's that emergency, and this again is Menard County, Texas, where they've had 5 to 7 inches of rain in like 4 to 5 hours, which for that area is a lot. And they don't issue flash flood emergencies, unless they really have a credible, considerable threat to life and property, which sadly does appear to be the case right now. Hence the flash flood emergency for Menard County, Texas. And you can see the flash flood warnings. Let me clear that off. The flash flood warnings do go from like the tip of Mexico all the way up almost to Dallas. So there's a huge area here of storms. Now, none of this is going to make it to Florida, but you can see a big area of storms rolling east towards San Antonio, almost to the Dallas area, and we'll watch some of those today for some severe potential. Then there is a couple of severe storms back over here towards Lubbock. You see a severe storm there. It's in Hockley County, Texas, till 3:30. That'd be Eastern time, converted into 3:30 Eastern time. But back to the west, another system coming into California. This one, in part, would be what helps to give us some showers for Thanksgiving. You see there's a dip in the jet stream here, then everything going like this. So coming down, up, and like that, down, up like that. That's kind of the steering flow right now across the country. And you've got a big trough here and a big ridge over here. That's kind of what's steering everything around the country. So let's talk about Thanksgiving. Because Thanksgiving is going to be interesting. It does not. There's been a lot made online by, if you follow some national weather sources or meteorologists, about Arctic cold and this, that, and the other. I honestly think, we talked about this yesterday, Thanksgiving looks good here. Maybe just a few showers late in the day or Black Friday, but in terms of any Arctic cold, I don't see it for at least Black Friday. Maybe into the first week of December. But so here's what we're tracking. Now, this is the model comparison. GFS is mid-80s, warm and very dry, and that's where we're leaning right now for the Thanksgiving holiday. It's very warm, very dry. The Euro model takes in a cold front across Florida, which would be some more showers and storms. Temperatures near 80. Yesterday, that looked a little bit more feasible. Today, it seems like that's a lot lower of a chance. So the good news is that if you have fam coming into Orlando for Thanksgiving, definitely the GFS scenario of drier, sunnier, maybe a sprinkle is a lot more likely. I think if we do get showers around the holiday, it's going to be overnight Thursday next week into Black Friday morning or midday. And even that does not look like that much as of right now. So that would be the early call for Thanksgiving. And here is the simplified version of the forecast, which you can notice right now. It is about a week away, so this is going to be subject to change. But somewhere in the low to mid 80s with the blend of clouds and sun, we'll carry a small chance of a shower in there right now. But again, in terms of anything major rain, major cold, major storms, does not look like that's going to be in the cards for right now. So that is good news. If you have a question on Facebook or YouTube, please, we would love to hear from you. And it's ironic that somebody just put a comment in because a lot of talk. Maybe you've heard in the local news lane. I don't know if you watch up I assume that's the Boston market.
Yes.
A lot of talk up there about an active December for snow and cold. So it'll be interesting for you up there how that plays out. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's see. Hello, Clayton Hill on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, William. We got a comment here on Facebook. Let me plug this one in. Things are very nice, and they're going to be nice for Thanksgiving, as you can see the dancing turkey on the graphic. It's the good news for Thanksgiving is it does not look overly rainy. It does not look overly wet as of right now, so that's some good news. Now let's do across the country. So here is the blend of the models. We call this the NBM. The inside baseball just means the national blend of the models. In other words, it's probably the most accurate way of showing temperatures as a forecast, is it's a blend of every single model we have. You can see the highs for Thanksgiving. If you're going to be up north, probably about 40 in Chicago. Obviously here in Florida, we've got a large amount of people that are from all over the country. So if you're going north, maybe about 40 or so. If you're going to northern Illinois, Chicagoland, low 30s in Minneapolis. If you're going to New England, maybe in the mid 50s in Boston with a cold front coming on Black Friday. 42 on Buffalo, 60 in Dallas, and then you see some of the 80s here in Orlando. But let me turn off those pixel queries and let's extend this into Black Friday weekend. And I'll do this by hand with you here. There we go. Let me put some of these back in here. So let's show you the temperatures into next weekend across the country. I'll add a few numbers on here for you. So there we go. So let me take you through this. So here we go. There's Thanksgiving. Here's Black Friday morning. You can see some of the cold. Here's Saturday morning of next weekend. You can see the air temps: 61 Orlando, 37 Boston, 34 Buffalo, 48 Dallas. Let me turn those off. Let's make this the feels like temp. Might be a little bit more representative. Yeah, look at this. Look at the big difference there. So here's the feels like temps next Saturday morning. So Orlando, we're looking at 55. It's not terribly cold, but, you know, chilly for here. 26 Boston, 18 Buffalo, 16 Chicago, 6 in Minneapolis. In the teens in Denver, 20s in Kansas City, 20s in Nashville, 40s in Vegas, 30s in Dallas. So there will be a cold front. It's not like, oh my gosh, extreme like it was a few weeks ago, but it's definitely a cold front to track, and the cold front will probably be something like that next Saturday. So again, here's the feels like readings. Here they are next Saturday afternoon. Excuse me for this color table. Let me fix that color table for you. Let me turn it off like that. There you go. Not sure why that happened. There you go. So here's the feels like readings next Saturday, the wind chill in other words. So notice this is Saturday afternoon of next weekend. You know, we're in the 60s for highs here, 60s, 70s in Orlando. But up north it's really chilly. And then here's Sunday morning of next weekend. You see maybe mid-50s Orlando, but it gets really cold up north. Teens in New England, 20s into Tennessee, even feeling like the 40s in Dallas. So there will be a cold front next weekend, but it's not like earth-shattering headline making. I think if there is going to be one like that, it's going to wait until probably into December at this point right now. So if you're traveling north, it's going to get colder, definitely, even for those locations, but nothing earth-shattering is how I would frame it as of right now. Now, next weekend, if you are a football fan, like I am, I should point out, here's Saturday at noon of next week, which is rivalry weekend. I can't speak today. And in Michigan, you have Ohio State at Michigan here on Fox next Saturday, and a 20-degree temp with a strong wind. So that will be a weather game. Often, it is the most watched game of the entire college football fall, which you'll see it right here on Fox 35 after TJ and Hannah do the news and weather on Saturday morning. And that will be a weather game because of this cold front. 20 with wind. So if you are a football fan, that's of note. A couple games in Florida, the Iron Bowl in Alabama. The point is, the weather will be definitely in the headlines, but not like extreme heading in the next weekend. So again, here on Thanksgiving, it doesn't look that bad. Somewhere in the 80s, low to mid 80s, blend of cloud and sun. We'll be watching a front coming down from the north. It's unclear if we'll have a lot of showers, probably just a few, I would say late in the day, heading into Black Friday morning as of right now. So it's 3:23. Let me know if you have a question, a comment, or a concern. The other thing we were tracking earlier, if you missed the beginning of the stream, is a flash flood emergency in Texas. Sad, another extreme flood event ongoing in Texas. This is the same level of alert, remember, we had in Eustis a few weeks ago. You see that there. This is between Austin and San Angelo in west central Texas. Flash flood, very rare flash flood emergency right there in the kind of tealish color there on the warnings. So that is probably the headline-making weather of the day right now. That's for Menard County, Texas, until 5:30 Eastern Time, which 4:30 Central Time in Texas. But again, none of that weather is going to be making it here to Florida. Over the next few days, we do have John Brown out in Mount Dora, the Light Up Mount Dora Saturday night. Weather's great for that or anything else. Time of the year, you've got the Jollywood Nights. I have not been to yet, but Laurel and TJ did that earlier this week. Weather's great for that. The Very Merry Christmas Party at Disney. I'll be doing that in a few weeks, actually. Weather's good for that. It's not even going to be that cold this weekend, so that's nice. But yeah, if you're here visiting or you're coming to Florida, this probably was and is the nicest week of the entire fall. I know that might sound like a big statement, but it is. I think this is the first week where there's been no rain in fall. There's no clouds. There's no wind. It's not cold. It's not hot. It really is the probably best week of the fall overall, and this probably is the best weekend. So if you're here visiting or you're coming to Disney, the theme parks for the weekend, you picked a winner. And you see lows tonight, maybe about 60 on average, so nothing too terribly bad. And then highs tomorrow will still trend a little bit milder, somewhere in the 83-4 range inland, and then about 80 at the East Coast beaches, so very nice for that. All right, if you have a comment, question, Facebook or YouTube, please put it in. Love to hear from you here. We got a few minutes left. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Hello to all your family in Florida. Carmen says happy Thanksgiving from Orlando. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. You're going to take a ride to the beach this weekend and drink a lemonade. Probably not a lemonade. Take an unsweet tea, but yeah, that's interesting. I do love the beach in the off-season. I actually am a huge fan of when it's cloudy or it's quiet and it's not as hot. Be like one of the few people on the beach. I love that quiet time of the beach, William. So we'll see for this weekend. Orange City checking in. Norman, hello. Hello from Wildwood. A couple of other messages to the page. Seeing you here. You don't like the cold. Well, good news is we don't have a lot of it in Florida anytime soon, so that's good news there. So appreciate all of you watching on YouTube, Fox Local, and Facebook. Coming up tonight, we'll talk much more about the travel forecast nationwide for Thanksgiving. I'll have more on that at 5 and 6, 10 and 11, and Laurel will on the News Edge at 8. And we will get you ready looking ahead into December, which, by the way, hurricane season, don't forget, ends here in, let's see, 7, 8, about 10 days or so. About 10 days from now, hurricane season ends, and knock on some wood, things are probably going to be done for the year. Now, there is an interesting plot from the GFS and the Euro today for something in the Caribbean after Thanksgiving, but I think it's pretty far-fetched. So if you see something online about that, I think we are more than in the clear here in Florida for this hurricane season, which, by the way, will be the first hurricane season since 2015 without a hurricane hitting the U.S. So first time in 10 years. Certainly, I think the forecast for the season ended up verifying pretty good for this hurricane season, but how it got there was definitely a roundabout way, meaning the forecast was slightly above average, which is what verified, but getting only 1, 2, 3, 4 hurricanes, 3 of which were Cat 5s. It's quite an extreme way of getting to where the forecast called for, and candidly was probably not expected. I mean, 3 Cat 5s in a year with no landfalls to the U.S., that's shocking in retrospect. So the season, in all likelihood, will end with Melissa being the last storm. So appreciate you watching on Facebook, YouTube, Fox Local. I'll see you coming up tonight starting at 5. And Laurel, don't forget, we'll be on with you on the News Edge at 8. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on the air. And as always, catch us here between 3 and 3:30 each weekday for some more on the weather. So have a great day. We're looking ahead to Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you more about it coming up tonight on the News Edge on Fox 35. We'll see you then.